Hey everyone, my name is Michael Grass from the Grassroots 304 podcast. This is episode 4, presented by Sacred AV Solutions and live at the shop here in Dunbar, West Virginia. And today I got a couple special guests with me, sitting in, well, to my right here. We've got Chris, we've got Steven, and we've got James. These guys make up Hurl Brickbat. And then to my left over here, we've got Roy F. Bush. Roy is a singer-songwriter, and he's going to be opening up for them this evening. So I just want to go around the table here and start with Hurl Brickbat. Guys, glad to have you on. Glad to see you all.
Thanks for having us,
Appreciate it, man.
Yes. It's been a while. Most of you guys, I saw James a couple weeks ago, but yeah, Chris, I haven't seen you in probably about 2 years or so now. And yeah, Steven, I think I saw you at Mount Music Fest last summer.
Yeah, I think so, man. Yep, we were working the booth again.
Right, yeah, I'm familiar with all three of you all.
You stay busy for sure.
Yeah, right. Well, it's really cool to have you all here and get to talk and chat. So
yeah, man, appreciate you guys having us.
Yeah, can you all tell me a little bit about the band? How long have you all been playing together?
Well, the band originated back in 2017, but our current lineup has been this way since about around November, I think, of 2017.
Yeah, I think I've been with Chris probably about 3 or 4 years or so, and then we had the drummer he ended up stepping down, and then we got a hold of James, and then I think you've been playing for about 2 years already, so 2 or 3.
I think we're on 3, probably approaching 3.5, something like that.
But yeah, we've been jamming for a while, man. And James and I, we're in a million projects together too. So you know,
right? Yeah, you guys play in a couple different bands. What are your side projects or the other projects?
Oh, we got a lot, man. We're playing with Shalem, then also MFB.
Yeah,
and,
right.
Also, kind of juggle around Tangle Roots too, man. So
cool.
It's all I can do. Stop, like working and stuff, kind of
staying busy.
Yeah,
it's all about that
do
hustle.
The weekend warrior thing, grinding out a few days, and
All right, okay. Well, that's cool. So you guys have been jammed together for about 3 years or so now, and
actually, it's been like 5 years now.
Yeah, I was about to say I've at least been in the band at least maybe like 3 or 4 years. Right, it's probably 4 or 5.
Yeah, it's been a long time, man.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's gone by really fast.
Do you think that we
something
think of
happened, man?
Right. Well, you think that we think of it like that, the time warp, because like the last 2 years, like nothing's really gone on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost when you say 3 years, you don't really account for the last 2 that nothing's been going on.
Fair enough. Yeah,
right.
I mean. Yeah, it just seemed like it was non-existent at that point. Nothing was going on.
Yeah, for musicians, what was that like for you all to not be able to get together and jam regularly, or at least having to like jam, on Zoom, or like how would you all still go about practicing together during the height of that the coronavirus?
It's mainly, I know I pretty much locked myself in the room and played a lot by myself, but it was more or less like individual work.
Yeah, we were real skittish kind of at first. I think like everybody, the beginning of COVID and everything. And then little time went by and we started just masking up. And, James always kept a big bottle of hand sandy with him. And
right. I mean, I guess you do what you got to do. Right. Well, it's so y'all still managed to make it work out despite everything going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were also in the middle of the process of recording our last record too.
Yes.
We went through different location changes with Big River. I think
right.
there was like 3 different locations they went to, and I think around the second time that they changed locations is when COVID hit. And so we had to continuously, redo the project, redo the recording, going to a different location, then not doing it for so long, going back to it and deciding that we want to do something else. It was a longer process than what we were trying to do, but it affected everybody in the area.
Do you think that because it was a longer process that it made it to where essentially that it's like if you just went in and recorded it how you had originally planned to, then you could have gotten it done a lot quicker, but with the time spaced out and then hearing different variations as time progressed, it's like, nah, I want to change that and I want to tweak this and I want to make this sound a little bit different as well.
Yeah, it gave us a lot of time to think. I think around the beginning of 2020, I think it was about April, we released a lyric video for Blooms. It was, I think 2 years before it was released. Or actually, no, it was a year. Yeah.
So is that the name of your last album?
Yeah, that's also our album, is Blooms.
Okay.
We posted a lyric video of that, and surprisingly, with, not having the chance to play out a lot, we promoted that video on Facebook, ended up getting 60,000 views, which
that's cool.
We're surprised about that. We're still, I think trying to find our place in the music scene, and it seems like the last couple of years with doing this record, it's helped us mature a lot more.
Oh, definitely. I think that a lot of people, here Joel Weary was just in earlier, and we were listening to you all sound check, and he was like, man, I swear, like, all these small musicians this over the last 2 years, they've only, gotten better. Their sound has increased, and they've strengthened. And, like, you guys were rocking earlier.
Oh, thanks,
And
man.
like, yeah, it's
appreciate
like,
it.
compared to last time I saw you all live, it's like, wow, that really impressed me. Say that, and your vocals are pretty good too, man. So, not saying that there's anything bad about it before, but 2 years has done something to you all, and you definitely matured.
I think part of that, man, just Larry and them, man, they just have it dialed in so good. It sounds so good in this room.
Oh yeah,
The sound quality is excellent in here.
yeah, for sure.
So, if y'all never came down to Live at the Shop here at Sacred AV Solutions in Dunbar, West Virginia, you ought to check it out. Really, it is a very unique sound, and it's very professional as well. Some of these places, I'm not going to name any of them, but some of them you go into, and you'll see a band, and it rocks your eardrums, and you'll walk outside, and like your ears will be ringing.
yeah.
But in here, that doesn't happen, because they're professionals.
No, it sounds extremely clean in here, and just the layout of everything, and we've never done anything like this before, so this is like,
Yeah, I hate that I just now made it down today, the day that we're playing, instead of coming to a few shows and checking it out, man. This is
Right.
definitely like a little hidden gem.
Oh, it's definitely a
For
hidden
sure.
gem. It's a great thing for Dunbar, and it's a great thing for Charleston as well. Southern half of West Virginia, they're going to do big things here, guys, and I'm glad that y'all can be here to play and be one of the first bands. I think they've been doing it here for about like a month and a half now.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yeah, I came to the settlement, and I think the last time Ingram was here, I
Right,
was
yeah.
here.
The settlement, of course, from Huntington, West Virginia. They're a little bit like all over West Virginia now. They played a few weeks ago, and that was a really good show. And I hope that, well, not I hope, I know that they'll continue to bring killer musicians in here, talented musicians. And continue to contribute to the music scene here in West Virginia and Southern West Virginia. I was going to say, we were talking about Hurl Brickbat earlier in the name. Explain that. It can't just be a brat. It can't just be a
Explain.
Came up
brat.
with that, Chris. Yeah.
actually, so back in 2015, completely different lineup that I had. I had some buddies of mine that were in the band. This is even before Aaron. Just long-time musician friends since my childhood. And they were in the band, and we were having trouble coming up with a name. I wanted something that flicked off, the tongue, like, perfectly, but, would make people wonder, what does that mean? Like, they don't know when they first hear it. My dad was actually sitting there, because we were practicing over his space at the time.
Yeah, Johnny, awesome dude, man.
Yeah, great artist too. He's also
Super supportive, biggest fan.
Yeah, he's also on the Charleston, West Virginia Tourism Awards list for artists. So if you get to check that out,
Shout out.
And so are
Very
we.
much check out his art, man. That stuff's awesome.
yeah, man. But he actually helped come up with the name. He mentioned hurling brickbats, and he was like, "That sounds interesting." And then I think he was like, "Yeah, something like Hurl Brickbat." And we were come up with so many names, and I was like, "Ah, that sounds cheesy. This sounds too plain." And I heard that, and I was like, "Sounds like fireworks and whistles going off. It's just so weird." And I was like, "That's it." It's like, that's the name, and it means to, a brickbat can be considered in some ways like a weapon, but the meaning behind it that we really gained interest in was that it meant to basically throw insults, hurling
Okay.
brickbats, throwing
All right.
insults.
All right,
So,
I
like,
got you.
almost to attack with words.
Yeah.
All right, so like a troll.
I think more like expressing yourself freely and, being okay with, being angry or, just expressing your opinion. I think that's, the best way I can describe the way I feel about it.
Okay, expressing your opinion. That's good. You should never hold your opinions back. That's everyone should be able to express themselves
Yeah.
naturally without any sort of like recourse from others. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People, not like you because you got an opinion that may differ from theirs. We should all respect one another, and be open minded to everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. A little bit of knowledge and wisdom there. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so tell me, what is the what's the sound? What's the genre of Hurl Brickbat?
Man, it's shifted a lot. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like years ago, like, well, as far as like the first album, it's like kind of that classic '90s grunge sound.
That's what I was trying to aim for in the beginning.
But anymore, it's like, man, it's a blend of like prog rock,
Yeah.
like alternative grunge, funk rock a little bit with a few tunes we've got. We're kind of getting a few more like instrumentals and stuff in there.
We've gotten metal comparisons also.
Yeah, some people classify it as like a style of metal. Just
Okay.
I guess the beauty's in the ears of the beholder. You know?
Right. So if you're gonna put a label on it, what would you call it?
I'd say progressive grunge,
Progressive grunge. Okay, I dig it.
something like
Alright,
that.
just so it's like
Don't
in
know if
case-
that's a real style or not.
Prog
You know, something
grunge.
like that.
You know, like music can be called anything nowadays. I feel like it's more
Yep.
than just hip hop or country or I don't know, rock. There's so much
Yeah.
more genres and so much more of a
Yeah,
I don't
everything's
know,
kind of
deepness
crossing
to it.
over into each other. You know,
Right,
people
yeah.
are trying to always looking for that new sound.
Right.
You know?
I just tell everybody we're a hard rock band if they're like, trying to find the simplest terms.
Okay.
So, I mean,
That's
but it's, trying our best to cross over into other things. And, I mean, these guys, when they came in, they helped a lot with that. It wouldn't be the sound it is now if they weren't a part of the group.
Okay. Well, awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always good to have a good set of guys behind you, a good team behind you that you can rock out and jam with. And when you're a tripod, well, a tripod doesn't stand on two legs. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you guys rock is what I'm saying. In other words,
I appreciate you,
yeah.
man.
Thank you.
Roy F. Bush.
Hello.
Hey, man.
Roy F.
Yeah, I've
Baby.
been wanting to get around here, but I want to kind of get them down
It's
just a
all
little
good.
bit
I
here
mean,
as
yeah.
well. How have you ever played with these guys before?
I don't think we've ever played a show together.
No.
I think I've only seen Hurl. Like,
However,
twice.
we shared shows forever ago. It's like 10 years ago, I
Yeah.
believe, with
It's-
John Poole when
yeah.
he had
Yeah.
what was
The-
the name
the
of that
car
venue?
trip,
that he-
man.
Cartriff.
The
Yeah.
car trip.
That
oh
was
my God, dude. I haven't
such
thought
a
of that.
special time in my life. That's
Yeah,
where
yeah.
that's where I got my start. Like I was living in Ravenswood at the time. I was still in high school.
Oh, really?
And John Poole, if you're watching this, John, I love you.
Hey, we'll
Dude.
we'll be playing with Roy here soon. I
Yeah.
want to say that.
Yeah.
The car trip, man. That was John was just renting out like the basement space of this church, and
Just
like,
trying to create this like all ages.
Yeah,
venue,
it was
man.
all ages, and I mean, like big bands were coming through occasionally. I mean, like JT Woodruff from Hawthorne Heights came through and played a solo set.
Yeah.
Knocked Loose came through and played before they blew up.
Did
which
you
was
go to
wild.
the protest when they played?
I don't think so.
They're like a Christian rock, but man, they have a huge following. I think they're up to like 400-some thousand followers or something like that. Crazy.
Yeah,
So-
wow. Yeah, I missed a lot of the better shows there.
Yeah,
unfortunately, just where I lived in Ravenswood at the time. But yeah, I've never. I don't think we've really played any shows as far as my memories are not that great. But I did see them back when John was doing like Cartriff pop-up shows, and you were talking about your original lineup. I definitely saw it was right at the end of Capitol Street in like one of those weird corner stores.
Near
Remember
Summer
that?
Street, right?
Yeah.
I think it's back when I had my weird blue hair.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a hot minute. Yeah, other than that, and then I think you and I have done a couple like Thursday night solo sets at the Glass.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But this is actually, I think, our first official bill that we're sharing. So it's
It'll be a great night, man.
Yeah, I'm super excited. This place is so sick.
I know it is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. It's definitely got a like its own vibe in here, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's,
I didn't know what to expect. I pulled up and I was like, I think I'm here.
But it's like it's different from a lot of the other places around here,
Yeah.
isn't it? Aside from just the way that it looks in here, and obviously the sound, and of course the production that they've got going on. It's a really good thing for the Valley. And they record these live. Obviously they're live, like
Right.
the podcast is live right now. But they record your performance, and then they'll chop it up and have like a professional looking video that you can put
Yeah.
up on your social media accounts. So. And they do all that for free as of now.
Yeah.
No charge, no additional charge to the bands or to the musicians playing. And like that's a lot of money in some of these bigger towns and bigger cities to have something like
No
that
doubt,
done.
yeah,
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So
for
it's
sure.
not just like a GoPro hanging up in the back of the
Yeah.
bar staring at it.
And it's much appreciated, man. I mean, that's the thing is, it's so hard to manage yourself and get a lot of those things done. You know what I mean? Like, you guys were talking about through quarantine, you had so many shifts trying to get your album recorded. That was when I finally buckled down and decided to record an album, and it was with John Poole in his studio in his basement. And it was like a 6-month ordeal. But it was weird to like finally record a record and then not be able to play it anywhere, because I put it out in August of 2020. There was no show still, and it was weird. Like I didn't play that album live until, I don't know, it's been a few months. I played at the Loud.
Okay. And the Loud is now it's formerly now I'm having a brain fart.
The V Club.
The V Club,
Yeah.
yes, that's correct.
Yep.
V Club in Huntington, and that's went through some renovations. as
Yeah,
I've
man, it looks
seen.
good.
It's cool, yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually got a show there April 22nd. We're headlining. So, and that's another thing too. I'm playing solo tonight, which is what I've done most of my career, I guess. But since putting out that record, it's kind of fully produced. Like there's some acoustic songs, some songs with acoustics and pads and whatever not. But a lot of it was fully produced, drums, bass, additional instruments and things like that. That it kind of felt wrong to not implement that. And I'm in a band called Neota, which we need to make that happen soon too.
Oh, we're down with it.
Yeah,
Just let us know.
And I play bass in that, and so it's my live band, Azroy F. Bush, is basically just Neota backing me up. They kind of switch around instruments all but our drummer Morgan. So yeah, it's definitely a weird adjustment. I haven't played a solo set in a while. I did an open mic a few weeks ago. It's definitely a different tonal change to have played solo most of my life, and then the past like 6 shows I've played full band, and now I'm coming back and doing a solo set. I'm really excited. Yeah. It's just it's just weird to like jump back.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, can you describe your sound as a solo artist, and then can you describe the sound of your band as well?
So I was at the Glass one night. I always struggled to describe my genre to people, because people always like, is it rock, is it country? And I'm like, no, like I don't know, I don't even want to call it folk, just because you have, it's a dude with an acoustic guitar doesn't mean it's folk or Americana or any of those things. And I struggled for a long time to tell people what it was, and I always used to say it was sad bastard music. But I was
what exactly is sad bastard music?
That's a
You're talking that tear in my beer, sad bastard
yeah.
music.
I guess sad bastard music.
Bud Light
just,
Bubby music.
Sad bastard music, man. I guess that's just one sad bastard with a guitar up there telling you how he feels.
Isn't that like every country western song of a solo male artist?
Don't let them know. Don't let them know. No, but that's the thing, is that's how I always described it. But there was a more aesthetic way to put that, and I have to credit my friend Steven. One night at the Glass, some woman, very intoxicated woman, was like, "So what kind of music do you play?" And I'm like, "Is it rock? Is it country?" I'm like, "I don't really know." And I'm look over and I'm Steven, who's also very hammered. And I'm like, "What would you've seen me enough times? Like, what would you call my music?" And he went, "Appalachian emo." Bang, and it stuck. So like that's whenever people ask what it is, I that's what I tell them, Appalachian emo. And I feel like it's got two things that are easy enough to comprehend that blend to, and I feel like it comes more to fruition to that name, full band, because of the musical elements that my bandmates add on top of just me and the acoustic music that I've written. But I am very lyrically driven. I've always been. I want to write guitar parts that are very pretty and intricate, but also I focus more on my lyricism and making sure that each line lands. Mainly for me, like I want every line to make me go, "Damn, like that's really good." I want to be able to pull a line out and it be able to stand by itself without the support of everything.
Dude, being a good lyricist is like a whole other craft in and of itself.
I feel like it's
for the most part, like you either have that or you don't. Or,
it's
I guess you can work at it. And for me, I struggle with like writing lyrics. You know what I mean?
I mean,
to me,
still
it's like
struggle
easier
with
for me
it,
to
dude.
like structure out like parts of the song. You know, like how you like hear like the sections in your mind's eye or something versus like trying to get
Yeah.
Other than that, I feel it's gonna vomit it onto the page.
Yeah, especially like it's just hard in general to put yourself out there. I don't think a lot of people understand. Like, I feel like all of us, especially musicians, at every point in our life, we get that weird kind of higher than you kind of perception about ourselves that our music taste is better, or the music, you know what I mean? And like I try to get away from that early on, to not try to make people feel bad for the music they enjoy, because people get whatever they need out of the music they listen to.
Yeah, dude, I
Some
used to kind
people
of be
just
like that
listen to
too.
it.
It's
Yeah.
like, man, I think it's cooler to people just love music,
Yeah,
no matter
for
what
whatever,
style
you know
it is.
what I mean?
They
Like,
just
I mean,
like
there's
music,
plenty of
you
stuff
know?
that
It's
I
like,
love,
I
and
can
there's-
settle with that, man. It's like,
Yeah.
that's cool.
There's plenty of stuff I love and plenty of stuff I hate. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
for sure.
Everybody's got their own idea of what sounds cool.
Right.
Their
I
own
mean,
taste
there's
and stuff, you know.
people. There's music that I love that people will be like, "What the hell are you listening to?" And I'm like, "It's good. I don't know what to tell you." But you know, like some people just need it to get to work in the morning. You know what I mean? Some people just need it to wash dishes and then turn it off and go watch TV. Some people need it because they need it.
Some
You know what I
people
mean?
need it because they're gonna have sex, and
Yeah.
you just can't hear the
Yeah.
empty sound of a bedroom.
I mean, yeah. I mean, dude, music is important for, you know, a lot of people don't realize just rhythm is music. So like, you know, there you go.
right.
It kind of carries you through. It carries me through my everyday. You know what I mean? Like I may not be listening to music at every point, but it does kind of guide me throughout the day. Whether it's me like thinking about writing it, or listening to it, or reading articles about musicians that I like, or whatever, or you know, simple as just sharing a post about a band, or sharing a post about tonight's show at the shop with Hurl Brickbat and Roy F. Bush.
Sacred
Okay,
AV
threw that in
Solutions
there.
and Dunbar West Virginia.
plugging it.
Yeah, man, it's a really fun experience that I've had so far, and I'm looking forward to tonight. I'm sure these guys are as well. It's been a long time coming to play with these dudes. So
Oh,
I'm
dude,
really
yeah, I'm
excited.
super excited, man.
Alright, cool. You know, besides the guitar, is there any other instruments that you play?
Not well.
You said you play bass?
You play
Yeah,
bass.
man, yeah.
I'm not. I play bass, but I'm not a bass player. Like
Oh, you got it.
I'm not.
You'll hold it down, son.
I mean, look, I've just got to be the meat and potatoes enough. I've just got to follow the drums, and that's, you know, no one's gonna bat an eye. But I don't have to be technical in Neota, because I have two guitar players that are tapping all over the place, and I'm honestly, no exaggeration, when it comes to music theory, the dumbest guy in my band, because I don't know shit about anything music theory, really. Like my dad never learned anything like that. My dad's the one who kind of taught me to play. Just gave me 4 basic chords and sent me on my way.
So can you read music, you know, on paper, or is it just like chords that?
I can't sight read. I took like, I was in band in middle school and grade school, things like that. I played like trombone, tuba.
Okay, that's cool.
So in middle school, when I was playing tuba, I was the only kid that the director was okay with me not learning how to sight read, because I did everything mostly by ear. Like if I could look at notes and be like, that's an E, that's an A, but just to like look at it on a piece of paper, it might as well just be squiggly lines all over the place.
Right.
That's like, I can't even, like, it's not that I can't read tab, I just refuse to learn to read tab. But I also never really played riffs that would require me to learn it. Like I know how simple it is, but my brain just looks at it and goes, I would rather listen to it and figure it out that way.
Yeah, there are a lot of famous musicians that aren't like classically trained as
Right.
well. I don't remember who said it, but I think it was Maynard James Keenan from Tool.
That makes sense.
That it bottlenecks your creativity in a way, which I thought was a really wild way of
Well, I've
looking
always
at
thought
that.
that too.
You know?
Like,
But-
I feel like it holds me back sometimes that I don't know the things.
But
I know,
at the
also
same time, like
the
working your
discovery
theory and
aspect is
stuff,
what I
it
love.
like it kind of gives you the tools to like I don't know how to explain it, like physically like sing in your hands or your mind's eyes,
Right.
You know, thinking or so. I don't know how to explain it. But
No, I know what you're saying though. Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was a really wild way. You know, that he put that to, you know, that bottlenecks your creativity. I don't know exactly what he means by that, but
I guess. Well,
to each their own, maybe.
I always felt that learning too much of how or why music works the way it does kind of defeats the purpose a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes, like I don't want to know why it works, because then it feels new and it feels original to me. But like, you know, to go and read like, oh, here's the circle of fifths and here's this key and that key, and I'm like, well, at that point it's just like, it's kind of guiding you into a point of, it makes it harder to make it feel original. And that's another thing too. Music is, it's all been done. Everything's a copy of another thing, and what do they say? Plagiarism's the finest form of flattery. You know, doesn't mean that necessarily everyone's ripping each other off as much as like being inspired to do things based on music that you hear and that you love.
Right.
But yeah, my drive's always just been I want to I don't always want to know why it works. I just want to do it and be like, yeah, like this sounds cool. I don't know, I'm doing some weird thing here.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they'll say, like, oh hey, what key are we in? And they'll look at me and I'm like, I don't know. That's John. He went to school for this. But yeah, I mean, I don't know where I kind of trailed off a little bit. But
Well, I
That's what's
think,
awesome about good conversation. You know?
yeah.
I forget that there's a microphone in front of my face.
I think regardless of the way you go about it, I think just as long as you're feeling it and you're putting yourself out
Right.
there.
You
I
go
mean,
with your
that's-
gut. You know what feels good to you. You know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's the whole point.
Right.
Like I was saying earlier about it's hard to put yourself out there, and a lot of people don't realize like it takes guts to just get up there and be like, yeah, I wrote this song.
Do you think that stems from a matter of ego or a matter of self-confidence that people don't want to put themselves out there?
I think it's probably a self-confidence thing.
That
you know, you gotta
I
overcome
think
so much
everyone's.
stuff.
A
I
lot of
feel like that's a 50-50.
Yeah,
50-50.
I mean, yeah, it's like nature versus nurture. I feel like
Right.
it's a combination of both things. I think for me, no one likes to be shot down. No one likes to
course.
fail.
Right. Nobody likes rejection.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no one wants to be rejected. And you get to a point where, like for me, like I write the songs for myself. I write them because I think sometimes I have to, or I'm going to, spontaneously combust.
Yeah. So
Um,
are you, real quick, are you writing your feelings out on the paper, or writing things that are resonating from your thoughts, not just like something that might sound good when you play it together or something that rhymes particularly?
Yeah, so my writing process is really weird sometimes. Like, I don't ever kind of go in like trying to write about a certain thing. I write music first,
Right.
and I kind of let that pull emotions out of me, and then I like, how does this song make me feel? What does it make me think of? And then I start to form words. Sometimes it's like I'll just take a voice memo on my phone, kind of like scat and hum, and I'll listen back and I'm like, what am I trying to say? You know
Dude,
what I
that's
mean?
such an awesome tool using voice notes.
Right,
For
yeah.
really,
We live in such a
keeping little
wild
ideas,
time,
like something
dude.
will kind of like just come to you,
Mm-hmm.
We even have an instrumental named after that. We recorded we recorded an instrumental on, I think it was Steven's phone. Was it Steven's phone or James'
Oh
phone?
yeah, and it was the fourth file of the voice notes, so we called it Voice Note 4, and it's
Yeah.
we called it that for so long, it just kind of stuck. We're like, oh, whatever.
And that's one that he wrote too.
Oh yeah, you pulling it up?
Oh, I've got a new phone. She ain't on there no more, but
Oh, bummer.
we done birthed that thing.
Good memories though.
Right. Whenever you guys write new songs, how do you draw inspiration, or what do you draw inspiration from when you create your music?
That's
For me, I feel a beat, I think, more so, you know what I mean? Or, like, I don't know. I'll kind of determine, like, whatever, of course, like, I hear, like, a bass line first, and then it's, like, whatever that is. I'll try to determine if it's, like, to me, sounds like it has the energy of, like, a chorus or a verse, and then from that, just build, it's like a piece of art, just piecing it together, you know what I mean? Expanding on ideas and everything, but, man, I actually have like a little Boss like loop station that I use at home a lot, and like an Octapad, and like, I'll try to like throw some kind of like drum thing on there, you know what I mean, and then just jam around with it and just see where it goes. And then some things will develop into an idea that I'll use, and some things won't.
Right.
But
I don't know how many throwaways I've had.
oh, dude, yeah,
It
so
pisses
many.
me
Or
off.
like ones you want to finish
Yeah.
that like could potentially be something really
Yeah.
cool.
Well,
you know,
I have
and
a
then-
song on the set list tonight that I just finished, and I've been trying to write it for 2 years. Like, I couldn't get past the second verse.
You're gonna bust that out
Yeah.
tonight?
Well, I've already debuted it at the show when I opened for Hawthorne Heights a couple weeks
Oh,
ago.
yeah.
which was-
Yeah, man. How was that show?
That was insane.
I bet that
wild.
was awesome,
That's the
dude.
It
biggest
looked
crowd
like
I've
it.
been
That
to.
looked like
Yeah, I
a
mean,
lot of
it was
people,
wild.
man.
They look packed out in there.
It was like, I don't know if they were at their actual like what they're allowed to cap out at, but there was they sold out at the door. It was 375 people.
Nice.
Oh,
It
wow.
was
Damn.
It was
That's
wild.
what's up. Yeah.
That venue's huge, but I know
Yeah.
probably seemed like elbow to elbow up in there.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. Definitely a very big highlight for me. That's definitely the biggest thing I've done.
Dude, especially like growing up listening to them too. That's
Right?
so wild.
Yeah.
you know?
It was a huge
That
honor. I
little-
got to talk to JT. I gave him a keychain.
Oh yeah.
Hell
'Cause he was
yeah.
like, you got to be the one to carry emo around here. I was like, you got to be the one to carry an Appalachian emo keychain.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that was a crazy time.
Is that the same guy that's from St. Mary's, West Virginia?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So he's the lead singer, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay,
didn't know
so,
he was
yeah.
from here actually.
Yeah. Interesting, isn't that?
Yeah, that's wild.
How many like talented musicians and actors and comedian? I don't know if there's any. Well, Steve Harvey's a comedian, so there's been tons of talented people
I always
that came
forget
out of
Steve
West
Harvey's
Virginia
from West
over the years.
Virginia.
Oh yeah,
that
like,
blows my mind every time.
Welch, West Virginia.
Yep.
Yeah, Southern
Yeah.
Coalfield. So it's crazy how many talented people come out of this state, and honestly, like I feel like sometimes it's just people don't get the recognition that they deserve being here. It's like people think West Virginia and they think we're all like a bunch of hillbillies, and it's like, well,
And
it's
we
like,
are.
we are kind of. It's like, but
It's insane.
Still,
it is
yeah,
insane
we
how
did-
many,
definitely
how much
did.
talent
like
is
you
in West
travel to
Virginia.
another state and they don't know that West Virginia is its own state.
Yeah, they're like,
Yeah.
oh, what
Dude,
part
have
of
you never
West
heard of the
Virginia?
Civil War?
Right.
Like,
No, they didn't learn that in school, I guess.
dude,
Not
I
the
don't
Civil
know.
War.
That shit's aggravating though.
Yeah, well, it's kind of crazy because there are people that say that frequently, and they're like, "Oh, what part of West Virginia or what part of Virginia are you from?" You're like, "West Virginia." You're like, "Oh, is that like up the mountains?" And it's like, "Yeah, it's like a whole another state, you know."
Yeah, I was like,
oh,
no, that's not
I'm
what
sorry.
you meant.
Or when you say, "Oh, like I'm from Charleston," they say, "Oh, South Carolina." Like,
Yeah.
No.
no, not Charleston, South
No.
Carolina.
I will say though, with the music's gonna be played tonight, with us and Roy Bush, and I'll throw a few names out there like Friendly Fire, Red Audio.
I believe Friendly Fire is going to be playing here next week.
Oh,
I believe so.
Nice.
nice.
I believe
Okay.
so. Yes.
Yeah, even like
Yeah.
Mediocre's Jerks. I feel like there is, and I consider this your type of music kind of like in a general standpoint.
Yeah.
If we're trying to lump everything together. It's
Yeah.
like I feel like a lot of people think that we're trying to play a lot of bluegrass in this area, but I feel like
Oh, there's a large collective of different sounds here in the area.
It's
such a
like it's like out of
diverse-
There's so
bluegrass.
much talent here too.
There is.
Yeah.
You know.
I feel like in recent years, I think there's an alternative
Mm-hmm.
rise in music in the area,
Absolutely.
and I feel like at least I'm hoping that's going to be the next big thing here.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to be the first one to really jump to and say it, but I almost feel like Charleston in some way is kind of like a micro Nashville in a way, because there is such like a melting
Yeah.
pot of
Yep.
different
it's very diverse.
genres and
Very
music that's
diverse.
here. Yeah, and then of course like the small venues of course here too, and the amount of oh gosh, what's the word that I'm looking for? Community. The amount of community and the people that support it, it's like just unlike anything else. So, and not just Charleston, but West Virginia as a collective, because as big as it is, it's a small state, and we've all got this like, is it the 8 degrees of separation? Is it
Right.
6
Yeah.
degrees of
6, I
separation?
think. Yeah. 6
Six,
degrees of
6,
Kevin
8,
Bacon.
something like that. I'd go with 7 degrees because that's my favorite number, my
Fair.
lucky number. But
Yeah,
yeah,
there you go.
as it is, there is a collective of music here in West Virginia, and like I said before, I don't think that the people from outside of the state really understand like just how great it is here. So anybody that's watching that doesn't live in Charleston, doesn't live in West Virginia, I know we've got lots of fans out there. So yeah, it's just cool. It's cool, to see things progress and see the bands progress over the years, and how their music sounds and how it's progressed. Keep saying progressed as well. Either way, yeah, it's cool. I know we've got about like maybe 10 minutes left here. Hold on, let me check real quick. But I wanted to ask James. Yeah, we got about 10 minutes left. I want to ask James a couple questions. James, you are by far one of the greatest drummers in the Valley.
Agreed.
That's right.
By far-
Beat
yes.
machine. Slinging those bats.
Really, like he's very talented, and like you said before, you're doing a lot of different side projects. What do you got going on, man?
Like Steven said, me and him play with Shalem, MFB, Hurl Brickbat. I'm with Grant Jacobs in a little side project called the 1111. And the latest that I just added was sorry, Jeremy Short, if this is bad. Might be running a few shows with Jeremy Short here in the near future.
Okay, cool. And shout out to Jeremy Short. And what are those shows going to be? Are they going to be around here? Going to be here in the Valley?
I think there's one down south, I think in like Greenbrier area, but most of them are out of state.
Okay, all right, cool. James, tell me, how long you been playing the drums, dude?
Oh gosh.
So you were in band and stuff, you know.
I,
marched Drumline and
A lot of my drumming has been through, like, as he said, like drumline stuff. But I would say it picked up around 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
So all in all, now me being 36, we're entering about maybe 18, 20 years.
Okay. And when you were back in 6th grade, what inspired you to get on the drum line?
I lived literally right by the high school I graduated from, and all I heard while riding my bike around the neighborhood was drumline stuff. So, like, by the time I got to high school, like, I could maybe play everything I'd heard, as you were saying, Butch, hearing stuff by ear.
Yeah.
I got there, and, I mean, I marched the parade. It was a Strawberry Festival up north of McKinnon, but I hadn't even, like, moved to high school yet. But I went to a few drum camps, and one of the guys that played bass drum had an AU basketball game. So they brought me in as a 9th grader to march like an almost 2-mile parade. They gave me the music, and that's pretty much where it all jump started.
Thinking about it.
But Woodrow, Marshall, a hell of a lot of years at Marshall.
Yeah.
And I graduated and like worked mental health, and eventually I got into my first band, Mojo-Matic. Here we are.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool, man. I've always wanted to ask you about that, and just never had the opportunity to sit down. You know.
I mean, a lot of my drumming was based around like jazz. That's the stuff that I learned. You know, classical jazz when I was at Marshall.
Yeah.
Who's
some of your favorite jazz artists?
There's only really a select few, but I'm more on the outside edges. I remember I got hammered one time about this.
Sorry if I put
a
you on the spot, bro.
A professor asked me. He called me out in a jazz rehearsal about like what kind of jazz I listened to, and it was the jazz that my dad listened to. And one of the top artists was a group called Incognito from, I think, over in Great Britain area.
Okay.
And that was not the answer he was looking for.
Oh, really?
And that day...
Trick question.
Yeah, that day I got pretty scolded. But
oh, man.
So many jazz charts I played, that's where, you know, I didn't really have a favorite, like, jazz artist. Like, my buddy Mark Price, he was telling me about a guy named Dennis Chambers, which, like, I mean, Grammy-nominated, pretty famous drummer now. Been checking a bunch of his stuff out, but like I'm a little all over the place. Like I get a lot of my drum set influences from like people in Charleston.
Really?
And shout out to Meech Cross. That's one that I kind of grew up listening to, playing, going to like church that my mom used to attend sometimes on visits or whatnot. But my drum set has evolved from literally everything I've said. Between jazz band, concert band, drumline, drum set players that I see, but
like part of being a musician, man. I think you're like a sponge. You try to soak in as much, you know, as you can.
I'm a drum sponge.
And
I am
you
a
carry
drum
this
sponge.
bag with you.
We'll
You
start
keep all
calling
these
that
ideas,
now,
or as many ideas as you can in this bag.
You know, it's always good to progress as a musician, and if you're continuing to learn new things, you know, you're just going to continue to go up. The sky's the limit, you know. Hey, Chris, what time we got on there, man?
We got 7:40.
7:40. Okay. Well, we got a few minutes left. Before we go, let's see. Let's start here. Roy, if you weren't playing music, what would you be? If you weren't playing music, and I haven't asked you what your regular job is, but what would be your dream job aside from playing music?
Man, that changed so many times. Like it has.
Isn't that hard?
Well, my day job, I'm a chef. Well, I'm a chef. I'm a line cook.
Oh yeah.
It's a fancy word.
Back
for
of the
chef.
house.
Yeah. And I do love cooking.
Yeah.
He's the old bay guy.
I didn't really know that I loved to cook until I got my first kitchen job, and that's where I'm still at that job. I've worked a couple other places in the kitchen, but I'm back where I started, and I didn't know that that's what I wanted to do, and I'm not sure if that's would be my career pathway if I wanted, if I wasn't just trying to grind any regular job or playing music. Like I would love to say I pay my bills playing shows. You know what I mean? But I am realistic about the fact that doesn't always turn out for the best. You know what I mean? Like my big thing is, as long as I have fun playing music, that's all that matters.
Right.
But my dream job, man, I was gonna go to school at State to be a journalist.
Oh, really?
Because I do love to write. I really wanted to be a journalist, and I kind of got dicked on that whole thing. I went in for advising that the end of that first semester. The head of the education department asked me, who was my advisor. She said, "So what kind of teacher do you want to be?" And I'm like, "What?" And I was like, "What are you talking about, teacher?" She's like, "It says you're an education major." I said, "No, I'm a journalism major." And she said, "We discontinued that last semester," and that kind of just shot all the drive I had to go to school. But yeah, I think journalism, man, I love to write. I love to document things.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, you should continue to do that. Maybe start like a blog and just write, something. Write about music or write about being a chef, and people will read that and they'll get some inspiration from it.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I think it's a good idea. It might take off too, and somebody will see it and be like, "Hey, we want to pay you each week for putting your little article in what we got going on."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, what would you be if you? What would your dream job be if you weren't going to be a musician?
My dream job, really working with different water systems, maybe something like marine biologist.
Oh, okay.
That's something that I've literally talked to my girlfriend and a bunch of other people about. That's something I'd love to do. Like, fishing is one of my biggest hobbies.
Oh, that's cool.
And
I wouldn't expect that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I know I look like the weird guy every time I go to a pay lake or I go to like some random river. Somebody sees me and they're like, I don't think that guy knows how to.
But then you show them and you pull like the biggest catfish out of the Canal River.
I was raised by my dad to, all the tricks and everything and what to do at each river and what's in each river, and with that hobby in mind, I really care about the environment, and we throw so much trash out, man. I mean, if you look at the Canal River, we've done so much to it.
Oh, it's gross.
It's
sometimes
you were taking a
like
dip
every
in
time
the river, dude. You feel like you're covered in film.
Yeah,
I refuse.
Who even knows?
If I could find a way to reverse all of that, if I were to be in that hobby, I would be working day in, day out to do that.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I dig that. Helping the environment, making sure that the earth continues to breathe and the organisms continue to live. I always see those pictures of the little sea turtles that get like the Coke ring or like the plastic ring of like the 6-pack that's stuck around their neck, and then they grow up and it like shrinks around. Well, it doesn't shrink obviously. They get bigger, and it ends up like cutting off circulation to them, and it's really horrible.
Yeah. It's
terrible.
Terrible. Real quick, microplastics. Have you seen how many microplastics are out in the ocean?
Oh God.
Yeah, there's actually a study. Just recently, there was an article that was released about how there's microplastics that are being found within the lungs of human cadavers.
Yep.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
I kid you not. Yeah, and it's getting into our foods, getting into the fish, obviously, and getting into the other things that we eat and drink, and it may even be coming off of like some bottles or like plastics that we consume beverages or food out of as well.
Jesus.
So, yeah, it's crazy. So, just a little off subject there. Steven, if you weren't a hard rock musician, what would you be?
Oh man, it's so hard to I don't know, I'd probably, if the sky was the limit, want to work for like Neuralink or like something oriented in like space and stuff. I'm absolutely obsessed with like, space and space travel and stuff.
Right.
Far out, man.
Behind all that. SpaceX or NASA, I'd take either.
Yeah.
Shout out Elon Musk.
Of course, I'd have to go back to school for a few years.
All right, that's cool.
No, man, I find myself getting sucked down the rabbit hole. You know what I mean? The YouTube rabbit hole. Just
I think we all get sucked down that rabbit hole from time to time.
But that's what draws me in, though, is, videos pertaining to stuff like that. But definitely be making a little bit more money on it.
Right. Hey, well, that's still cool. It's good to have big dreams, and even if you can't go to space, you can still rock out with your socks out.
But man, I don't know. Just maybe it's the way my brain is wired, dude. I absolutely infatuated, love music. You know what I mean? Couldn't be happier doing anything else.
Right. James, last but not least.
I'll be a truck driver.
Be a truck driver.
Hey, Walmart's
Yes.
evidently they're hiring for like 110,000.
I didn't even have to say it.
Start
Yeah,
out, like,
yeah.
I'm hey, fair
The
enough.
dream might still be alive,
I'm gonna
but
stop slinging food.
if I wasn't rocking, I'd be driving across the country,
Be living on
getting
the
her
road.
done,
Yeah, man.
seeing scenes
Seeing
and all
the
that other
country.
Seeing the
stuff.
scenes, but
well, they
you know.
say up to, so there's probably a fine line where you're probably not making
Hey,
that.
you know, get it while you can, because here in the next few years, like Elon Musk will be pumping out some electric truck, and like there won't be nobody driving any
Yeah.
big rigs across the U.S. It'll all be
Yeah.
robots,
Hey, I'll be pulling up at a rest stop,
right?
playing Xbox, going to sleep.
You take like a
going to my,
little electric drum pad with you, and
Hey, there we go. Like I said, the dream's still alive. We'll see.
anything's possible nowadays.
yeah.
That's cool, guys. Thank you all for being on. Real quick before we go, why don't you shout out your social media accounts, Roy? Start with you.
Mostly everything's at Roy F. Bush, Twitter, Instagram. You can find me on Facebook, Roy F. Bush Music.
Spotify.
Spotify, Roy F. Bush. I'm on all the social or the streaming platforms. Album Bleeding the Trees of Colors on there. A few singles. Go check it out, please. Thank you. Love you.
Awesome. And Hurl Brickbat.
Pretty much the same setup. We have stuff on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
Yeah, what's your ats on all these so people can find you?
It'll just be at Hurl Brickbat.
At Hurl Brickbat. Yeah, it's hard to mess that one up, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Are you on Spotify or iTunes?
Yeah, we have
Yep.
Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play. We have our both our records on there, and I think we might even have a really old school EP on Bandcamp.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, Bandcamp.
Cool. Yeah, well, you gotta get your music out there somehow. So
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah, awesome
We also
guys.
got our website www.hurlbrickbat.com.
Say that one more time.
So the website is www.hurlbrickbat.com.
There you go. Well, guys, if y'all want to see these, you guys want to see these guys live tonight. If y'all want to come see them live tonight, it's at Sacred AV Solutions live at the shop here in Dunbar, West Virginia. Type in live at the shop. Which one is it? Live at the shop or Sacred AV Solutions? It's both of them, but either way, you can type it in and it'll pop up through your Google and whatever else is on there. If you can't find it,
Find the event.
yeah, send a message to the Facebook page. It's pretty easy to find there, guys. So, anyways, yeah, thanks for being on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us, man.
Yeah,
It's been a
you're
pleasure.
welcome, of course. Everybody, give it a like down below, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. We'll see you next time. This is the Grassroots 304 podcast. Peace.
Later.